As everyone expected, it is myself, Stephen Cheah, and Owen Roeder.
Let's do it.
This is a live mock draft reveal, so I'm very excited. Mock Draft 5.0 is dropping on BarstoolSports.com, the website, at 1:30 p.m., so 30 minutes from now. We're going to have a live reveal here, which is very exciting. We came up with some graphics. Shout out to Youngstown Bob, who created these graphics for me. We're going to go through them. Avery's going to pedal through them as we go through the picks, and then we'll just do some general yak. We've got, so the whole crew, if people have listened last week, we have Sass doing his escape to Colorado, your roommate. Roan is off and taping.
Roan, Caleb, Nick, and Kyle all in Florida.
Right, where? Inland Florida? We just general?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a pretty often thing. So they're traveling, what, once a month now?
Okay. Once a month for the next 4 months.
Yowzers. All right, well, hey, some great content. Deleted scenes just released from...
I've yet to watch it, but...
From your guys' trip, 20 minutes. Pretty hefty.
Yeah.
Did Donnie reach the 200,000 subscribers? Or I think 200,000 subscribers is what he was looking for. Great for him. Congratulations that Donnie does. But yeah, let's go through some mock draft stuff. So the draft is 17 days away. Oh, and also, we can't forget, Big Cat's buying a car right now.
Really?
Big step. Did you not know that? That's the reason he's out, is like he had to make it work schedule-wise with interviews and stuff. He's buying a car. I asked him last week if he had a coupon, and he did not, and didn't even think about that. I was like, dude, you gotta.
I didn't know coupons were a thing for buying cars.
Did I not tell you the story before?
You told me you would tell it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did say that. So, well, I guess his problem is he didn't have a specific. Big Cat doesn't have. He doesn't even know what model of car he's getting yet. I think he has
he's just
down to a few. I think he's going to do some hard negotiating with a Joe Sinatra type character. But he's going to the car dealership today. He's going to buy a car in 2018. Maybe I was going to say maybe the best moment of the year. My son was born that year, so second best moment that year was my wife and I went to go lease a car.
Okay.
Went to go lease a I think we were between a couple, but basically we'd kind of narrowed it down to one other car and a Honda CR-V. We were at the Honda dealership, and we're going to lease it, and I had a coupon for $300 off, but it said in very fine print at the bottom, negotiate your best deal and then present this coupon to the salesperson. So I literally had an ace in my back pocket. So the whole time I'm trying to get the price down, as one does when buying or leasing a car. And started to play hardball. And honestly, I thought that it wasn't going to happen. We couldn't really come to an agreement. And it got to the point where, and I always thought this was kind of like a show thing. Yeah. But you get up and you walk out. And literally, my wife was going to the bathroom, and I was like, I had broken off negotiations. We were done. We were going to leave. We were going to go to the next place. And then
That's impressive stuff.
Yeah, but it actually helped that she was going to the bathroom, because I get up and I'm at the door, but then I'm like, all right, I got to wait for my wife to come back so we can leave. So as I'm waiting there, the sales guy is kind of knows he's up against it. We'd spent, an hour and a half, 2 hours together, so it's a huge time investment for him. He's got a quota to fill. Yeah. So then he's like, all right, wait here. He's like, I'll go talk to my boss or whatever. And I can see him go in the back behind the glass and stuff, talk to the finance guy or whatever. And comes out all defeated. He's like, all right, we can do this. And it's not a compromise, but he went almost all the way to where I wanted to go, very minorly over. And I was like, all right. My wife came back. We talked about it. I was like, all right, we can do this. And he's like, all right, good. We shake hands. And then I slapped this coupon down for $300 off. The look on this guy's face was one of the most satisfying looks I've ever seen, because he just looks so defeated.
You got him down all the way, and then
all-time moment. I we signed the papers. I went off in the court with my wife. I was like, that was so fucking awesome. That was so cool. Just absolutely dominated this dude and busted out a coupon.
You were a grown-ass man that day.
I was. It was all-time story. Such a great feeling. But I hope Big Cat gets something similar like that today. We actually played some hardball with Joe Sinatra when Brandon was fake negotiating a Cadillac.
That's one of the best yaks, I think.
That is
back.
That is one of my favorite yaks. The yak has taken so many turns. It's been an honor to be part of this. I've been part of this since January 17th, 2017. It's been a wild ride. We've been the evening yak. You've had characters kind of come and go because of moving reasons and things like that. Jared, part of the crew. Coley Mick was part of the crew. We had Caleb, who's now in Florida. But always evolving cast, but it's always a very fun show. And you've
always been the cornerstone.
I've been one of the cornerstones, certainly. Roan and Big Cat have been the other ones. We have a big trivia match tonight.
Yeah, huge.
Match 100 in the dozen versus Frank and the Frankettes. So almost another half of the yak with Katie and Nick and Frank. So very interested to that. We'll all be remote, so it'll be good. And the tournament's coming up pretty soon.
That'll be
That's public
watch.
knowledge.
Yeah.
So we're kind of 1 and 2 in the standings. Jeff Lowe told me months ago this was going to be match 100. So I'm very excited for the matchup tonight. Yeah, but
definitely the 2 fan favorites.
Yeah, a lot to. They've passed us in the fan favorites vote, which is kind of.
Yeah, it'll be neck and neck. I think it'll just flip flop every week.
It's tough. I mean, we have. I think we're like 6-1, and they're 11-2 or something like that, or 12-2 even. So it's like basically identical winning percentages. We did lose to them though. I will say
the thing with their team is they're good. All 3 of them have like very different specialized knowledge.
Yep.
Whereas like
me, Big Cat, and Roan have a huge overlap.
Yeah. All 3 of you guys are very smart, but all into like the same things.
Yes. So I think we are very good at a select number of categories where I think they are good in a lot of categories. So I think that's the difference we're going to see tonight. It should be really fun. So we lost to them the first time. It's very frustrating. I think we said this, but like we're taping and we have to tape these things sometimes pretty late at night or like kind of in off hours and things like that, especially during like quarantine and stuff like that. And I remember that the day that we taped it, like KB totally forgot about it. And then Big Cat had like, I forget, he maybe just finished an interview or something like that. And it was like 9:30 or 10 o'clock or something like that. KB was basically a full 30 minutes late to the taping, to the point where like everyone was legitimately very mad at him.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of, our energy, that whole show was very bad. So I'm
maybe it was a
tactic. Back in the saddle. That would be a pretty rude tactic, but I wouldn't put it past Kyle Bauer.
So let's get into the meat and potatoes.
I'm excited to see this. I can see it on the YouTube screen. We got our guy Zah and Avery back there, and shout out Ari, who's actually back there as well. It's going to be going through the graphics, so this is exciting. So again, 17 days away. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. First overall pick. This one, not really a secret. We're going Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick out of Clemson, the quarterback. Recently had his, they moved up his pro day. He's 6'5.5", 213 pounds. A little deceiving. He just had surgery on his non-throwing shoulder, so he's typically about 230, 235 pounds. 10-inch hands, great mental processing, strong arm. He is a guy, when you talk about the draft, there's always like, people always talk about like generational prospects, and the term's thrown around pretty loosely, I feel. Andrew Luck was that guy, and then right after that, like Jameis Winston was that guy, and there's always a guy that it's like a tank for 2 or that type of thing. But things can kind of reseed throughout the year. You have to realize the draft is such a crapshoot. Like even with the number 1 overall pick, a guy can look really clean on the field, and he's not going to turn out because of either work habits, little things he can't get over. I mean, a guy that I rooted for 5 seasons, Jameis Winston, very clean prospect on the field, had just had 1 or 2 brain farts a game that really killed him. Trevor Lawrence, by all accounts, is probably the cleanest draft prospect in several years, probably since Andrew Luck, maybe even before that, going back to the John Elway days. But he's just got kind of everything you look for as far as leadership, kind of off the field stuff, which is so important, especially going into the draft. He can run, and he's kind of a twitchy guy, which makes a lot of sense for today's NFL. I mean, 6'5.5", really big quarterback. So hand size really good. He's just been a winner. He won the national championship as a freshman. Been on the big stage plenty times.
Did he just get married a couple days ago, or is that coming up?
I know he got engaged when he was in school. I don't know when the date was, but I mean, yeah, they do it different in the South. I mean,
it's like a ring with graduation kind of thing. It's crazy.
Right. I don't typically understand that, but good for him. Congratulations to him and I guess his either new wife or soon-to-be wife, his fiance.
It is tough. Like he's like such a likable guy, and like I want him to do very well, but I just don't want him to be like Tom Brady, just because I'm a Jets fan, and like that would just be so tough.
So here's the thing. Like as a draft prospect, you're looking at him on the tape and stuff like that, and he checks all the boxes. Personally, there's something that he did like a year ago that really got under my skin. Is that he
Really?
The pickup basketball game. Do you remember this? The pickup basketball game.
Oh yes.
He shoves like a kid, like no offense, like someone like your size, 6'5", like 230-pound dude.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? He shoved him in the backcourt for setting a pick on him. Like I mean. Did you play like intramural sports in college? Okay. So, I mean, it can get pretty serious. You're with your friends, you got your pride on the line. But I mean,
but I don't think D1 athletes should even be playing intramurals.
That's a good point. They shouldn't. They're just not on the same level as everybody else. But I mean, you got to expect that the other team's going to do whatever they can to win the game. If you're pressuring a guy full court and you're huge, I would expect one of my teammates to give me a pick, even if it's in the backcourt. So
especially if you're playing against Trevor Lawrence, like I'm gonna set a pick on him just to say, oh, I set a pick on Trevor Lawrence.
Right. So I didn't love that. He shoved the kid. Like, come on, dude. But by all accounts, on the field and his leadership in field habits off the field with football players is as clean as he can get. Number 1 pick to the Jags. Let's move on to number 2. So Zach Wilson. And I'll kind of say this is like, it's almost like the first 3 picks are known at this point. Like the cat's kind of out of the bag. Even Joe Douglas had said like, yeah, like we're going to address the quarterback position. All signs are pointing to them going to Zach Wilson out of BYU. He's an interesting guy. So he's like 6'2", 214, 74% completion percentage this year, 33 touchdowns, 3 picks, but he's got 1 year of production. Last summer, he was a DoorDash delivery guy and like was not a guaranteed starter at BYU.
Yeah.
He played a fairly cupcake schedule this year. As a Jets fan, are you excited that this is your guy? I mean, you just traded away Sam Bradford, who was the guy 3 years ago.
Yeah. I'm pretty high on Zach Wilson. I was a fan of him all year when I thought we were getting Trevor Lawrence. So I'll be happy with him. I think the drop off from Trevor Lawrence to the next 3 guys, like I think Justin Fields and Zach Wilson are kind of the same to me.
So Justin Fields is actually my number 2 quarterback. I like him better than Wilson. I just think that Wilson's really good at like improvising and off-platform stuff, and he's quick to bail out of the pocket, which is a lot of today's game. But teams can force you to stay in the pocket, and then you have to make decisions. He does have a really good arm. His size is a little on the small side, but not super concerning. He'll be an interesting one. I mean, however these guys do, these 5 quarterbacks that are going to go in the first round, at least 5, they're all going to be compared to each other throughout their career, so it'll be interesting to see how they all stack up because, you even look back to 2018, you had Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Lamar Jackson, and that's how they went. And obviously, if we redraft it today, it's going to be a very different order. So again,
they do the same thing with Deshaun, Mahomes, and Trubisky. Yeah. It's like every draft class they get lumped together, and that's sort of your benchmark for your career.
Yep.
You're just getting compared to them for eternity.
So the big surprise is going to be number 3, and it's not really a surprise, which is kind of a bummer because if this happened on draft night, this would be like a fall out of your chair moment. Like when the Raiders drafted Cleveland Farrell when he was like not even unanimously like a top 10 guy at number 4 a couple years ago. That was kind of like, holy shit, like now the draft's taking a turn. So Mac Jones from Alabama, all signs point to him being the guy. Everyone that's really plugged in has Mac Jones as the number 3 pick to the Niners. Kyle Shanahan has pretty much admitted such. His best friend is Chris Sims, who's been a media guy who ranks these quarterbacks, and he's been very high on the Mac Jones. Mac Jones, 6'2.5", 217. He put up similar numbers to Joe Burrow last year. So you're thinking, okay, maybe a similar type of player. Burrow had a very instant impact, but he doesn't have the athleticism or pocket mobility that you're necessarily looking for, whereas Burrow, that was a plus for him. Mac Jones, certainly not that. And you do have other quarterbacks in this class who do have that as a plus when you look at Trey Lance and Justin Fields, kind of the other guys up in the top 5. So it looks like he's going to be the quarterback. I don't love the pick.
Now, what do you think about it? Like, I know you could say the same thing with Burrow. He had an unreal receiving core, but like Mac Jones had like the best receiving core in college football history.
Yes.
So like, I think it's easy for his numbers to have been inflated.
Yeah. You can point to the receivers. You can point to his line.
Yeah. Also, he had an NFL line.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing it against SEC competitions, but they're still Alabama. Yeah, there are certainly a ton of advantages there. He did go to the Senior Bowl, and he did play very well in the practice up until then. He did, I think, sprain his ankle, and he missed the game. I think a lot of the reason this came out sooner than sooner than later was that the Panthers at number 8 had been rumored to be very hot on him. They coached him at the Senior Bowl. They have a new owner, David Tepper, who showed up at the Senior Bowl, which was very weird to happen. And there was a lot of smoke that the Panthers were going to take him at 8. So it looked like the Niners, who were at 12, felt the need to go up and secure their guy. Mm-hmm. That's what they've done. It appears to not be 100%. Justin Fields is going to have a second pro day, and Trey Lance is also going to have a second pro day, and the Niners are going to be in attendance at those. But it appears that Mac Jones is their guy. I don't see why you would move up if you hadn't really solidified that. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll roll to number 4, and this is kind of where the draft starts. The first 3 picks for the most part are in chalk right now. But we're going Trey Lance, the quarterback out of North Dakota State. Tough one. So 1 year of production. He played 1 game this year, and that was because North Dakota State's season essentially was postponed.
Oh, I didn't even know he played a game this year.
Yes, they did like an exhibition.
Okay.
And he did not play well in it. As far as the numbers, I mean, he was 15 for 30. He had a couple throws, a couple drops, but he didn't throw an interception at all last year. He's 28 touchdowns, 0 picks, 14 rushing touchdowns, 1,100 rushing yards. So this is a guy who very much a threat with his legs. But, again, 1 year of production. A positive part is that he did play in like a very pro-style offense. He was up at the lines making calls, making audibles, protections, things like that. So he is an interesting one. I think he's going to need more seasoning. I think this is a great spot for him to go. Because Arthur Smith, the new head coach, is the coach of the Titans, really helped revitalize Ryan Tannehill's career. Similar types of players as far as athleticism. Tannehill was a receiver in college for a bit. So Trey Lance, I think, is a good pick here to sit behind Matt Ryan. There is some smoke that could go like Kyle Pitts, which I think would be kind of an asinine move to go at 4 a tight end. I know Kyle Pitts is an awesome player, but
Do you think Kyle Pitts is going to play tight end in the NFL? I think he'll play receiver.
I mean, overall, I think he's going to line up in line at times. So yes, technically he'll play tight end, but they'll split him out. I mean, on the Dolphins, like Mike Gesicki splits out like 80% of the time.
Yeah,
so I think when you're drafting like for fantasy, he will be listed as a tight end. But we're going Trey Lance to the Falcons at 4, and this is kind of where the draft starts.
For Trey Lance, Evan, our stats guy for the sportsbook, he's our resident FCS guy.
Okay.
And he is very out on Trey Lance.
Very out?
Yes.
Okay. Any specific reason?
You'll have to talk to him after the show, get his reasoning. But you're high on him, or?
I like Trey Lance. I don't like him as much as like Justin Fields. That would probably be my pick, who's also, a Georgia kid. But he has probably the highest ceiling. He's got all the physical stuff you want, but he just doesn't have a lot of production. When you look at guys with 1 year of production, it's a lot riskier of a position to take him. Yeah, if you have Matt Ryan, who's going to be around for a year or 2 at least, you'd think that should be a really nice system for him to kind of grow up in. Whereas if the Falcons start 2-7, I'm sure people are going to be calling for him, but you got to kind of commit to Matt Ryan for the year if that's the plan. Number 5, we're going to go Jamar Chase, receiver out of LSU, and this is the first non-quarterback. This is an interesting one. So we actually talked to Matt Miller, who is ESPN's one of ESPN's draft analysts, and he pointed to something very interesting. So the Bengals took Jonah Williams out of Alabama as a left tackle 2 years ago. He missed his rookie year, but played left tackle well last year. And so they had an opening at another tackle spot. The common thinking was get Penei Sewell as the top-rated offensive tackle. But Joe Burrow kind of went above and beyond with a free agent, Riley Reif, who's kind of a journeyman tackle, who's a solid player. Took him out to dinner, really convinced him that this was the place to be. And apparently Burrow has also lobbied for Jamar Chase's teammate at LSU. So Burrow, it seems like, is kind of maneuvering behind the scenes to do whatever he can to get Chase in the building. So I'm going to go with the Bengals appeasing their star quarterback and taking his favorite weapon from college, Jamar Chase, at number 5.
That would be just so awesome to watch.
It would be cool. From a GM's perspective, you think, he's your star quarterback. You don't want him to leave. He's kind of a hometown guy. You'd like to make him happy. If you take a tackle, I'm sure he's not going to be super upset, but that's not his guy. I mean, it's a very rare opportunity you get to get your, college quarterback and receiver on the same team. So we're going Chase at 5. Number 6, the Miami Dolphins. They traded back from number 3 to number 12. They traded back up to 6. I have them going Kyle Pitts, the best tight end prospect since probably Kellen Winslow, the second in 2004, the 6th pick of the Browns. He had a broken leg, I think his rookie year. Then he got in a motorcycle accident, and he had a solid career, but never reached the total potential that he could have. Kyle Pitts seems like a very clean prospect. Has all the measurables you want: 6'5.5", 245, ran a 4.4 40. Longest wingspan of any receiver or tight end in the last 20 plus years. He's going to be, he just moves differently. The Dolphins traded up, I think, with the intention of giving Tua one of the 2 weapons, either Chase or Pitts. I have Pitts being available for them in this scenario.
I like it.
Number 7, this is going to be a big one. So we got a trade. The Detroit Lions, not really a secret. They're building for the future. They're going to be going after Justin Fields here, who is my number 2 quarterback personally. Fields is awesome, 6'2.5", 227 pounds, ran a 4.44 40. Was a shortstop in high school, and those baseball skills you see with Mahomes kind of transfer. Really just an accurate thrower, great deep ball. There have been some what I would call lazy criticisms of him for his work ethic. For people that have been close to the program, that is not a worry at all with this kid. Pro Football Focus, I think, came out the graphic. He's the best quarterback rating-wise past his first read, which was another knock in him, that he's just kind of a one-read quarterback. I really like him. He does have a little bit slower release, but he's just so mobile. He's so tough. We saw that in the college football semifinal against Clemson. Just a monster game after taking that huge hit that probably broke his rib. But Justin Fields, the quarterback for the New England Patriots, after a big trade to move up with Detroit to number 7. Fields, I mentioned before, he's having his second pro day. There are 2 teams confirmed attending, the San Francisco 49ers and the New England Patriots. So be on the lookout for Justin Fields being a future Patriot. All right, we'll go number 8. We got Oregon offensive tackle Penei Sewell. This guy, really young. He opted out of 2020. He was born in October 2000. So really young prospect, but really, really good player. The ideal scenario probably for Justin Herbert on the Chargers was that he would fall to them, or at least get very close within trading range. I'm sure that he would want that left tackle as a need for the Chargers. But the Panthers, they have Cam Irving at a left tackle. He's not a left tackle at all. They recently franchised their right tackle, Taylor Moton. So they need to really beef up their protection, especially with Sam Darnold. You need to protect that guy. So he's the pick at 8.
It is weird. I'm just getting to the age where I'm older than people I'm watching now, and
right.
It's a weird feeling.
I think Pitts is born in 2000 as well, but Sewell, I believe, is the younger of the 2. All right, number 9, we're gonna go with the Denver Broncos. This could be a team that moves out, or they've been a team that's been very in on quarterbacks. I think they're a team that could actually get Teddy Bridgewater. Not really a huge upgrade over Drew Lock, but providing some competition there. I have them going Rashawn Slater, the tackle out of Northwestern. They recently paid Garrett Bowles a lot of money to play left tackle, gave him an extension. They do have kind of a need at right tackle. I see Rashawn Slater filling in right tackle, letting Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, whoever's throwing the passes over there, have a little bit more time to get to their weapons. Number 10. So this one is actually from a dream of mine. I had a dream a week and a half ago that J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina, who's regarded as the number 2 or number 3 corner in the class, got picked by the Dallas Cowboys at 10.
You had an epiphany.
I guess so, yeah. It hasn't happened yet, so isn't an epiphany
well, if it happens,
yes,
we could deem it an epiphany.
I tweeted it. I tweeted so it's on the record.
It came to you in your sleep.
Yes, that the Dallas Cowboys at 10 stuck. They've been rumored to move up for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts' dad apparently really thinks the Cowboys are going to get him. But I had the kind of unanimous number 1 cornerback is Patrick Surtain II out of Alabama. His dad, Pro Bowl player for the Dolphins at the same position. But I have them taking J.C. Horn instead of him. I said, I had the dream. I gotta honor
It's
that.
very endearing that, in your wildest dreams, you're just scooping the 13th pick of the NFL draft.
10th. This would be the 10th pick. So top 10. Devontae Smith still on the board for those following my Devontae Smith is not a top 10 player take.
You do look like you're going to be right about that.
I do. Yeah. I have the video takes from everybody disagreeing with that too. That was a very fun download. All right, number 11, New York Giants. They have so many needs here. They certainly could go Devontae Smith at 11. They signed Kenny Galladay in free agency, so receiver isn't the most immediate need. But I have them going Kwity Paye, edge rusher out of Michigan. He's kind of a squatty body. He's like 6'2.5", 251. He is the number 1 ranked player on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. Definitely an athletic freak. He was supposed to run in like the 4.4s. He kind of pulled up during that run. He has a legendary like 3-cone drill that measures change of direction. He was kind of misused at Michigan. Played all over the line. Played like zero technique basically in some instances. But he's a guy who could really be a better pro than college player. I like the Giants upgrading their edge rush with Kwity Paye at number 11.
Steve, quick question as a Giants fan.
Yep.
Why wouldn't they go Micah Parsons, considering that they have the Giants' ties with Coach Chaos and whatnot?
Yep. So Parsons, certainly, I have Parsons going actually next to the Eagles. I had Parsons being mocked to the Giants in my first mock draft. For what the Giants have, like the way that they're building their team with Dexter Lawrence up front, they got a lot of big bodies. They're looking for a tackling machine. They have that in Blake Martinez. Blake Martinez is essentially a tackling machine. I think Parsons definitely will represent an upgrade as far as versatility, but as far as what the Giants have on their edge, it's not really comparable. Like it would be a much bigger upgrade with Paye to their edge rushers than Parsons to their linebacking core.
That's totally fair. I would be fine with them taking either.
Yeah, both are good prospects. Parsons is one of my favorite players in the draft. 6'3", 246, ran a 4.39 40. He's a guy who has been tagged with some maturity issues throughout high school and college, but on the field is awesome. He opted out this year, but he's a really good player that's going to be an instant impact guy. He's probably going to be best suited as a stand-up linebacker or a weak side linebacker in a 4-3, but he can be used to rush the passer on obvious passing downs. He's just so fast, and he's got some really good hand usage with his speed. I really like Parsons at number 12 to the Eagles, who are looking to upgrade their defense. They pass on receiver here. Both Alabama receivers still on the board. Number 13, dream scenario for the Chargers. Patrick Surtain, the second out of Alabama, falls to them. They just got rid of Casey Hayward, who's been kind of a mainstay in their secondary for a while. The Chargers certainly could upgrade their left tackle, but Surtain is the best player on the board here. So I have them go on Patrick Surtain the second at 13. Minnesota Vikings, number 14, we got Elijah Vera Tucker. He's a tackle or a guard. He played guard his first 2 years at USC, switched over to left tackle right after that. This past season was really good. One of the measurable things with NFL people is arm length for offensive tackles, and he is at the like bare minimum for offensive tackles with arm length. I think he's 32 1/8 inch.
It's like the equivalent to QB hand size.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But you know, when you're playing, you know, not in a phone booth like a guard, but when you're playing kind of out on an island against a defensive pass rusher, if his arms are 2 inches longer than you, that actually represents kind of a big deal. So I have Vera Tucker slotting into or moving inside to guard, but a really good pickup for the Minnesota Vikings at 14. He's a really safe prospect and has some position versatility.
Can I just address the chat for a second?
Yes, please.
If you would like to see the Pittsburgh porn video, you literally just Google "I'm from Pittsburgh porn," and it's the first thing that comes up.
I think that's the most frequent question we get asked.
Yeah, super easy to find.
All right, well, enjoy that. Whoever is probably going to be tuning out to this very, very quickly, checking out that.
They'll be back in 6 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yeah. Number 15, we got a trade. This is the Lions moving down from 7 to 15. Zaven Collins, this guy's really interesting. 6'5", 259, ran a 4.65. Linebacker out of Tulsa. What's interesting about him is he's just like a classic throwback linebacker with his size, but he's also super fast. He had 2 game-ending interceptions. One of them was a pick 6 to win the game. I think it was against Toledo. But he is awesome. He's really fast, huge, tackling machine. He's a guy that I picture when Lions' new head coach Dan Campbell's like, we're going to bite guys' kneecaps off. Like, that's Zaven Collins to me. So that kind of screams him. They could certainly upgrade their linebacking core. So I got Detroit going Zaven Collins at 15. 16, we got Greg Newsome the second out of Northwestern. He's 6 foot, 192 pounds, ran a 4.38. Really good change of direction skills. The Cardinals need corners bad. Patrick Peterson, who's been mainstay in their secondary since I think 2011. I think it was 2011 draft. So for the last 10 years, he's kind of been a mainstay in their secondary. He has gone to Minnesota, and so is Dre Kirkpatrick. So they got a lot of openings there. They got Byron Murphy and like Robert Alford. They need some upgrades, make some playmakers on the secondary big time. So Greg Newsome the second out of Northwestern to the Cardinals at 16. All right, so we're back half the first round. This is kind of where sometimes we can get a little bit lost, but let's when people grade kind of mock drafts, I think it's kind of important to note this. It's very impressive you can get like 6 right. I think this year will be a little bit beefed up because, the first 3 picks essentially are known, although, but if you, miss on one guy, that has like a huge ripple effect down the board. So I would say the back half of the first round is a lot of a crapshoot, and you're kind of judging pro days, team needs, things like that. So these are our best guesses, but I feel pretty good. I feel really good about this mock draft. I almost don't want to make another one until the draft, but I obviously am. All right.
What do you think the final mock draft will be before draft night?
Well, I always call it final. No, probably 7. I mean, we're 17 days out, so that's typically about when I do them. So I don't know. It depends on if there's any like shakeups or trades or anything. I mean, if there's a trade, if New England moves up to 7 tomorrow, I'll put it in a new mock draft tomorrow. So
and you guys will be doing a show, right?
Yes. So me, same as last year, Brandon and Roan are going to head up a live NFL draft show. We're going to have a lot of guests. So that'll be a lot of fun. It was so much fun last year.
That was incredible. I'm not always like a huge draft guy, and last year was like, it was the only dose of sports anybody had in 8 weeks, and it was incredible. Like I was watching your guys' stream. I made a ballot to fill out all the prop bets me and my dad were doing. Like we got very into it.
So I got to check with Westy on that because I was told I've been wanting to get this Devontae Smith top 10 pick take in the Barstool Sportsbook for a while, but I've been told that that's not we can't make those. But last year we did have them. I'm pretty sure in the Barstool Sportsbook, and I did a blog first rounders. I went 7-3 with my first round prop bets last year.
Yeah, I think the draft props. I checked this morning. They're not out yet. We will have them eventually. The thing with the Devontae Smith not top 10, so that wouldn't be allowed in a couple of our states because they have a rule against negative bets.
Okay. So maybe that's it.
Which is weird. Like you can't bet on a player to throw an interception in a couple of our states.
Okay. That makes sense. I thought Wesley told me like draft specific language, but I'm pretty sure we had it last year. So whatever it is, I'll make sure to have another blog up for draft prop bets.
We'll definitely get some boosted Cheah draft props.
Oh yeah. All right, 17 overall, Las Vegas Raiders. We got the Joker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. 2020 Butkus Award winner for the nation's top linebacker. He played all over in Notre Dame's game. He played linebacker. He played nickel corner. He played safety. He's going to be a really interesting guy. At his pro day, I think he weighed in around 221 pounds. But there are rumors that he played closer to like 200 pounds. So I'm interested to see if he can be a linebacker because even 221 pounds is light for a linebacker, like really light. I think Darius Leonard plays at like 215, but like it's tough to maintain your body and your health playing that position at that size. It'll be interesting to see how he translates, but he's a really exciting guy. I would love if he fell to the Bucs at 32, but I don't think that's going to happen. 18, we finally got it. Devontae Smith, Brandon Walker, such a dummy, said he'd take this guy 3rd overall. 6 feet, 170 pounds. Let's keep this in mind. So he was listed at 6 feet and 175 pounds throughout the season. He went to the Senior Bowl, declined to get weighed and measured.
I was gonna say if he's listed at 170, he's probably 154.
He was listed at 175. So that's middle of January or end of January for the Senior Bowl. He declines to get weighed and measured. His pro day was March 23rd. So he has essentially 2 months to get ready for this, put some weight on. He weighs in at 175 pounds, lower than he was listed. So he's puffing up for this day. And you see guys like Travis Etienne who, weighed in at 215. That guy probably weighed 200, 205 during the season. So guys put on weight for these things. So he put on weight to get up to 170. I think he's a good player. I really do. He's an awesome college player. But there have been like 2 guys that have had that body type as far as like over 6 feet and under or 175 pounds and under be in the league. Paul Richardson, and I forget who the other one was. But it's just not something we see a lot. He's such a natural like player.
Yeah.
And he's really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I had this take right after his second touchdown in the national championship game, which was a few minutes before his third touchdown in the national championship game in the first half.
Yep.
So rightfully so, I get people kind of dumping on me at the time, but he's not a top 10.
Well, I think everything you said was true, but it was just like the timing of it was like a little more narky than you actually are, you know?
It's fair. I mean, I just wanted to provide some perspective. I started out with, I think he's an awesome player.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
So I understand that. People didn't like it at the time.
You're known for your ballsy timing. Your like best tweet of all times, your Washington tweet.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
My personal favorite, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That was intentional.
Quick Travis Etienne story if you'd like.
Of course.
I was with one of my buddies from Clemson a few weeks ago, and he told me a story. He was out on the town on like a Friday night, and he sees Travis Etienne out, and they have a game the next day, so he's not drinking or smoking or anything, and he's like, oh no, I can't, like I have a game tomorrow. By the end of the night, Travis Etienne ends up smoking with them, and they're hanging out on the couch, and apparently he was just like pretty much just like knocked out, passed out on the couch, and they're watching an old game. Okay. And all of a sudden, and it's him scoring 5 touchdowns. And all of a sudden, Travis Etienne just wakes up, pops his head up, and goes, yo, that's me. And that was it.
That is not what you want to hear if you're a team thinking about picking that guy in the first round, but that is a very cool story.
It is, yeah.
I think he's
probably not one you in here, but imagine just like,
that would be very cool to be
You're
part
with a group of dudes all watching a game, and you're just like, oh, that person's scoring 5 touchdowns. That's me.
This guy's fucking passed out. It's your game tomorrow.
Steve, the Devonta Smith hill, would that be the biggest hill you've ever died on if he ends up being like an absolute monster? Or have you ever died on like a worse hill like in a draft?
I'm okay with him being an absolute monster. If he's the number 7 overall pick, which is a possibility to Detroit, who has a need at that position, that would be a tough one for me. But yeah, biggest hill, like hottest take, like yes, especially at the time, that would definitely be it. It just generated a lot of buzz and has been kind of, I mean, people have said like, this is the hill you're going to die on. Like, yeah, you're not going to draft a 6 foot, 175 pounder receiver. I don't care how good he is, and then in the top 10.
Let's go, Steve.
I'm very excited for that in draft day. I can't wait till we get to like number 11. If the Giants pick him number 11, it'd be so great.
Do you watch the movie Draft Day the week of the draft?
I don't watch the week of the draft. I did see it in theaters. It was a movie that excited me.
I think I saw it in theaters as well, actually.
Good movie. Was it? What's the guy's name?
Kevin Costner.
No. Vontae Mack. No matter what.
Oh yeah. That's all time.
All right, number 19, Washington football team. Fast riser, Daniel Jeremiah's favorite prospect in the draft, Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky. Kind of a one-year wonder, one-year starter. Average over 10 tackles, game ran a 4.47. Very instinctive player. He's going to fit in really good behind what they're calling the Maroon 4, which is that front 4 of the Washington football team. Number 20, kind of a boon for the Bears, getting Jalen Waddle out of Alabama, the receiver. He was averaging 139 yards per game, 1 touchdown before an ankle injury kind of derailed his season. Did return for the national championship game. Kind of looks pretty stiff. But I mean, the guy's coming off like a big-time ankle injury.
I think, he could be a little undervalued, though. Yeah. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Like, he could be a guy that absolutely could go in the top 10. Yeah. But, health is certainly a big thing. He's not able to, like, work out these pro days. So it's kind of like a top-of-mind thing. But certainly him and Devonta Smith are very similar prospect-wise. Waddle is a smaller guy. He's like 5'9.5", 180 pounds. But, I mean, he can change gears like very few guys can, and just destroys angles. He's got 4 catches of 75 yards or more. And for his size, is a very impressive contested catch guy. I think he has 10 catches on 15 contested catch opportunities, which for a 5'9.5" guy is very rare. All right, let's go to 21. Indianapolis Colts. So this is a big pick. This is a team that's like pretty ready to take the next step, depending if Carson Wentz really pans out. They had a surprising retirement. They're one of the best offensive lines in the league. They had a surprising retirement from left tackle Anthony Costanzo this offseason. So I have them going Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, the left tackle out of Virginia. Big guy, 6'4.5", 322. He's got 34.25-inch arms, 35 straight starts. I mean, he's kind of what they need at that position. I'd love to see Jonathan Taylor run behind him and Quentin Nelson. That would be awesome. Number 22, we got a trade. So the Buffalo Bills trading up to number 22 from number 30. They're going to go after Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami. This guy's an interesting cat. He's a 5-star recruit out of high school. Went to UCLA. Had some problems with concussions. He had 3 really bad concussions and medically retired. He also was really into music and kind of just left the game of football. And he transferred to Miami and all of a sudden was a monster, showed kind of the talent that was always there. Big year this past season, had a really good pro day, really natural edge rusher. He's a guy that, certainly could fall due to medicals, and you kind of can't blame teams for that. But on the field, talent-wise, I mean, he can play in a 3-4 or a 4-3. I mean, he was the number 1 recruit in 2017. Like, he's a player. So, Buffalo needs some help off the edge. Jerry Hughes is really getting up there in age. Mario Addison, he's like a serviceable like edge rusher, but like not what you want when you see them in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. They can't generate that pressure. Phillips is going to give them some much needed punch to get after the quarterback.
Incredible hair.
Yes, great hair. All right. Number 23, your New York Jets. I have them going Tevin Jenkins, right tackle out of Oklahoma State. Big guy, almost 6'6", 317 pounds. No sacks given up junior or senior year, which is great to see. Great finisher on the run game. I mean, there are a lot of clips online of this guy just burying people like into the bench. He is the type of offensive lineman that Joe Douglas, the Jets GM, loves. I would love to see him paired with Mekhi Becton. Protecting Zach Wilson. Would not be surprised to see this pick at all. Number 24, Liam Eichenberg, left tackle out of Notre Dame. He's the classic Notre Dame guy, 6'6", 306. Started every game. He follows the likes of Zach Martin, Ronnie Stanley, and Mike McGlinchey. Just really good pros at left tackle for Notre Dame. He's a little bit lower of a rated prospect, but Pittsburgh, you don't really know what's going on with them with their left tackle, Alejandro Villanueva. They did not re-sign him this season, so he's currently a free agent. He's unsigned at the moment. They certainly could opt to bring him back, but with Big Ben back there, age 38, you got to protect that guy. He's not as mobile as he once was. Eichenberg is the pick at 24. 25, Jacksonville Jaguars. This is going to be from the Jalen Ramsey deal. Having him safety here, Trayvon Merrick, safety out of TCU. He's a top-rated safety in the draft. Really good cover guy. Played wide receiver and corner in high school. The Jim Thorpe Award winner this past season. 26. Jeff D. Lowe is going to be happy. Nick Bolton, linebacker out of Missouri, 2-year starter. He's a first-team All-SEC. He's kind of a smaller height-wise guy. He's 5'11", but he's got good play speed. I think he ran on like the high 4.5s. But play speed, he looks good. Tackling machine. There's a clip. I forget who's the quarterback. Running to the goal line, and he's like pretty much in, and Bolton hits him, and he just like stumbles backwards like he just got hit by a train. So this guy can absolutely pack a punch. Nick Bolton, linebacker out of Missouri. Logan Spence, shout out Missouri. All right, number 27, the Baltimore Ravens. This is an interesting team because they got a lot in flux right now. Their right tackle, Orlando Brown Jr., has requested a trade because they won't let him play left tackle. Ronnie Stanley, you'd think, is going to be back early in the year. I don't know if he's going to be fully ready for week 1 after tearing his ACL, but I think he'll probably be there pretty early. And then their edge rushers, Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon, both gone. They're going to get comp picks for those guys next year, but until then, they need somebody to rush the passer. I got Aziz Ogilari, edge rusher out of Georgia. Another guy born in the year 2000, 6'2", 249, 14 sacks this past year. Really good speed guy, gets a good jump off the ball, has a really nice dip and rip move. Did good with his hands, but needs to convert speed to power a little bit better. Really good prospect, though. Number 28, kind of a similar, a familiar name that people may have heard. Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback out of Florida State, 5'10", 180 pounds. Measured a little bit better than people thought. He looks a little bit small on tape. 5'10", 180. Ran a 4.45. His dad, obviously, Asante Samuel. Very good cornerback for the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles for a long time. Ball hawk. I mean, I think his Twitter handle is like Mr. Pick Six. Like, I saw him on NFL Throwback the other day. He's just absolute monster. Like, always jumping around. Subject to getting burned. I think the helmet catch was partly his fault, but he made a lot of plays for New England when he was there. Number 29, we're getting towards the end of it. Landon Dickerson, center or guard out of Alabama. He's a grad transfer from Florida State. You're worried a little bit about the injury history with this guy. He had 3 straight season-ending injuries, but, I mean, his teammates love him. He tore his ACL in the SEC championship game, and then they brought him on the field for the final snap of the national title game this year, and his teammates were all just, pumping him up, giving him hugs and stuff like that. But he was shown recently at the Alabama Pro Day doing cartwheels, so it looks like he's going to be okay. But he's huge. He's 6'5.5", 333 pounds, and he's just nasty. He will earhole any guy who comes through the middle. Really, really good player. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a real all-pro type guy. Big if, though. All right, number 30, we got the Titans trading back from 22 to 30. They're going to go receiver. They lost Corey Davis to your New York Jets. So they draft Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. This is a guy I really like. Not elite suddenness, but 6'3", 190, really good hands. He did run a 4.41, so he's got kind of that long speed, but he's just like a natural receiver. I really like Rashad Bateman. Changed his number to number 0 this year, which is an all-time swaggy move for a receiver. It's a cool move, yeah. Gotta love that. So he's going to fill in next to for Corey Davis, opposite A.J. Brown in Tennessee. 31, we got Jalen Mayfield, right tackle out of Michigan. He could be better as a guard, but they got Kyle Long coming out of retirement for the Chiefs. 6'5", 326. Not like an elite athlete, but he can play football. I think Andy Reid's going to find a home for him at right tackle to replace Mitchell Schwartz. And then 32, the world champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Caleb Farley. So cornerback out of Virginia Tech. He's a guy who was borderline the 1 or 1A or 1A or 1B cornerback in the draft. He's fallen since it was announced he wouldn't participate in his pro day because he was having back surgery. I mean, awful timing. He's supposed to be ready for camp. He just got medically cleared. It's going to be about 4 months, so he should be back right kind of at the start of regular camp, not the rookie camp. But he's a guy who, he could fall a little bit based on that, but he's a really talented player. He played his first game playing cornerback was his freshman year against Florida State. He had 2 interceptions. He is just a dog. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. Really, really physical player. The Bucs have a need at cornerback, or a future need. They're Carlton Davis, their top cornerback. Similar dimensions. He's a free agent after this year. His asking price, I assume, is going to be pretty high, so this could be a spot where the Bucs address a need with Caleb Farley. And that's Mock Draft 5.0. It's now up on the Barstool Sports site.
That'd be some good value for 32. And it's posted?
It's posted.
It's on the blog?
It's posted. Thank you. Thank you to Zah, to Avery, Control Room, the graphics team, for helping get this up. This was awesome. So this was Mock Draft 5.0. But we have some just general chatter to get into. But that was very cool. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in, being engaged. Hopefully this was an enjoyable experience, something I like to do around draft time. Yeah.
The one thing with the Chiefs, it's got to be such a nice feeling. They're just loaded everywhere offensively. All they have to do is just draft tackles and linemen for the next.
I mean, those guys are really important. If they don't,
no, I know.
We saw in the Super Bowl, if you don't have those guys, here.
I know, and that's what they need. But I'm saying, they have real no needs offensively anywhere else.
Yeah, tight end, Kelsey. Tyreek Hill's really good at receiver. They could use a second one. Sammy Watkins isn't with them anymore. But not a glaring. They're not gonna be able to make up his production. So, that is kind of a luxury. But I mean, big guys, hard to find.
Yeah,
hard to find guys that are super big that can block other super big, strong guys that are fast as well. So, but I mean, with Patrick Mahomes' contract, they're going to be contenders for quite a long while.
The chat says that draft was A minus.
I like it. Hey, A minus, pretty good. My average in school was a very, very healthy B minus C plus, so A minus is batting above my average.
Oh, I read that wrong. It was mostly A plus.
Hell yeah. All right, let's go. Uncharted territory for myself. So I appreciate that.
You're very convincing. Like, a lot of these could be hot takes, but you're also very convincing in the way you portray how you feel about these certain players and where they'll go.
Well, they're not, like, when I do these, you look at team need first. So, like, I'm not going to project, Zach Wilson to, the Chiefs because they already got a quarterback. So you look at team needs and kind of what they could use, and then you kind of go positionally, stack the certain players against, positional rankings and see kind of where people fit. Like some guys, some like 3-4 edge rushers like won't fit with like a 4-3 scheme. So you got to kind of maneuver some things like that. But yeah, it's all about team need and kind of knowing the prospects and, where they're projected roughly. And, it's all subject to change. But right now, this is kind of how I see things.
No one better than you, man. No one better.
Appreciate it, buddy. And I asked you to prepare some questions to get in some just general chatter. Let's talk about how we got here almost, but also just some general thought-provoking questions that would generally be part of my other section.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you said you wanted to touch upon how we got here.
Yep.
So you want to do a brief synopsis of your odyssey to Barstool Sports?
Let's start with you. I've done a fair amount of talking for the open of the show.
I went to Providence College. I graduated in May of 2020. And I was a viceroy there for 3 years, which is our program.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's our program where you run college accounts. Providence was such a small school that, like, it didn't really do well, the account. I mean, like it got, like, everyone on campus, like, followed it, but when you look at these Ohio State and Clemson and UNCs, they have 50,000 followers.
Yeah, to scale.
Yeah, I think I grew ours from, like, 1,000 to 2,000 or 3,000.
Okay.
But
300% growth.
Yeah. But and then at the end of college or my senior year, they sent out like a Google Doc to sign up if you were interested in possibly being selected for an interview. So I did that. They reached out. They said I could come to New York and interview. I live in New York, so it was convenient. And I came. I wore a suit for some reason.
Oh, this was the Katie Stats interview.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think it was crazy to wear a suit. I wore a suit. And then they interviewed me. They were like, what would you want to do here? And I kind of just talked about, like, gambling mostly, my ideas for the gambling team.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, that's not really what we do. Like, this is more for the Viceroy program. I was like, oh, well, obviously, I'd be willing to do anything, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, all right, we'll be in touch. They emailed me almost immediately that I didn't get it.
You're, like, in the elevator going downstairs.
I think I was on the train home. But so I did not get the summer internship at Barstool. But on my way out, I met Jack McCarthy, who has since become, like, the head of the gambling team here, as far as on the back end. And so I met with him, and he was like, just asking me general questions, like, do you actually gamble? Like, do you understand this stuff?
Sure.
And I was like, yes. And he was like, all right, well, here's my number. We should be in contact. So I talked with him, and then the pandemic hit. I moved home from college, and I was just in my bedroom with, like, nothing to do. So I ended up helping Jack and working for free pretty much for, like, 6 to 8 months, helping run all the gambling accounts.
Yeah.
And then it was, like, a long time. So I was like, damn, I don't know if anything's ever going to come of this. But the nice part about it was the pandemic gave me a cushion. There was no real sweat to get a real job right away, just because there was such a lack of
Not
hiring.
many people hiring yet.
I majored in finance. There wasn't really much to be had with that.
Right.
So it allowed me to try this. And then September.
So would you say you're happy that the pandemic happened?
Yeah, I think it ended up being a very good thing for me. And then come September, I had interviewed here in February. Didn't get it February 5th. And then worked with Jack until September. And got on a Zoom meeting with Gaz. And he was like, do you gamble? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, all right, that's good. I don't know much about gambling, but if you do, that's good. And I was like, all right. And then I got an email that I was offered a
that was the whole
internship.
interview?
Yeah, that was the interview.
I mean, I'm sure behind the scenes, Jack McCarthy put in a very good word for you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I get asked all the time, like, how do you work at Barstool? Like, how do you get a job there? Like, honestly, like, so many people I know started working for free for like a long time.
Yeah.
Like fucking Joey Langone has been doing all his shit for like years.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. Shout out Joey Langone. But yeah, my journey to Barstool was a little different. I was working at a very corporate job for a couple of years, safe corporate job doing ad operations. And I had a friend, one of my very good friends, Eric, was consulting at one of the big four accounting firms, and he would get basically meal credits. He would get, a certain number of dollars per day for lunch or whatever. And he was from another city, and he would come. He was on an assignment with a client in New York, so he would just want to hang out. So he'd be like, "Hey, I'll buy you lunch, whatever. Let's go." So we'd eat pretty reasonably, go out to lunch. And one of the days, he brought along his coworker, who was Beardo, Marshall Beard, who used to work here. And he was like, "Hey, like you should, work for Barstool and write about Buck stuff," because I'd been doing my film stuff on Vine on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, since 2015. I was probably in year like 2 of it, and I was like, I don't know that that's really the future for me, because I was making a decent wage doing like ad operations, and he was like, "All right, well, I think they're about to hire a CEO. Like, they might be looking for an ops person. Like, let's stay in touch." So, I mean, he's a nice guy, so we stayed in touch, and he put me in touch with the head of the Bubbly Gang, and we had been in touch and kind of going over. I was essentially working for a couple months before I officially came over, and then October 3rd, 2016 was my first day, and
Wow.
I started on ops, and then I came here to like do programmatic advertising, which is just ads on the website that are not sold directly, but sold in like a secondary marketplace. And when we got the Sirius station, we had already been doing Barstool Radio, which I used to listen to every day during lunch, from 12 to 2. When we got the Sirius channel, there was talk that we were going to hire one producer to run all the shows. So at the time, the chief of content was Mark Cohn, and I was just like, in his ear, I was like, and we were kind of friendly. So I was like, I want to produce a show, any show. Like, I'll do it for free on my own time. Like, I would love, because I always watched like Mike and Mike growing up, and I loved Mike and Mike. Big Mike Greenberg guy, which is probably very not surprising, but so I was just like, this would be so cool. I would never get a chance to do this. Coming from a corporate job, I was like, I had to go through 12 people worth of like red tape to get one thing done. I was like, if I can produce a radio show like for free, that'd be so cool. It'd be a great experience. Maybe I can transition careers like later in life or whatever. So I did that, or Mark was like, okay, there's one show available. Good news, it's Big Cat. Bad news, it's at 6:00 every night. So I was like, all right, I'm in. I talked to my wife. She was very understanding and was like, sure, you can do it. So I did that for a year. My kid was born. I took like a month off, or a couple weeks off to do that, and then the Yak was very hard for me to do at that time. But at the same time, I think Big Cat had also realized that he didn't want to do 6 to 7 every night. He would rather do it in the middle of the day. So that kind of fit perfectly with my new schedule that I had to kind of be part of. So I just kind of transitioned to during the day. It was the Yak. So we dropped the evening Yak, became the Yak. But in that time, in the kind of in between, since I had producer experience, shout out Frankie Borelli, who I shadowed for like 2 weeks, and just like watched him like press the buttons in the NHQ too. So that's how I kind of learned.
It is funny, like a lot of the people here, like come in with a lack of like producing experience, and everyone's just shadowing somebody who had just shadowed somebody 3 months earlier, who had shadowed somebody 3 months earlier.
Yeah,
like everyone's just passing along information to one another. It's funny.
When Barstool Radio was happening, I think I don't know if it was like 4 to 6 or whatever, but for a couple weeks I would just go into the control room with a notepad and just take notes and be like, all right, what does this button do? What does this button do? Like, let me see you do that. Frankie would give me the headset and I would like do things a couple times. So that was very cool and very appreciative to Frankie. We started on the same day, actually, I think.
That's one of my favorite things about this company is like a lot of people come in just knowing nothing. Right. Like they just like you because of your personality. Like I had no idea really about Photoshop, Premiere, or anything, and I just learned as I went.
Yeah, and now you're the producer on 51 Strokes and macrodosing, and you're doing a lot of stuff with the Yak, which is awesome. And Avery's been a huge help for me with, I've been a little bit sensitive with the pandemic and having family members have issues. And now I think it's public knowledge my wife's expecting in about 3 weeks, right after the draft.
Let's go.
So I'll be out for a little bit, but be right back at it. And Avery's been a huge help as a huzzah to me. But yeah, so that. When I was doing the evening act with Big Cat, we had, as a company, Pat McAfee had left. But we had ad commitments against a football show. That was not part of my take. So I had brought up to the chief of content at the time. I was like, hey, we have money against this football show. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I was like, is something happening? What are we doing with Pat gone? Pat and AJ Hawk gone.
And your brain immediately went to surf and turf.
No. It went to, I brought it up to eventually to Dave. He was like, all right, like, let's do something. Let's throw something together. He's like, I'll do it. He's like, let's get Willie and Tommy. And I was like, can I produce it? He was like, sure. that was it. That was the whole conversation. And it was like, then I like storyboarded a bunch of stuff for him and gave him a bunch of prep sheets. And then he was impressed by that. And I was like, all right, this is going to be great. So we did the show weekly for a year through the Super Bowl. And then, I kind of became part of a character on that show as well. And then Willie and I picked it up the next year because we, wanted to do some type of football content, and Dave and Tommy weren't as interested. So, so then we changed it to Surf and Turf, which is now going deep. But yeah, that's kind of how all this started, and my like life not on the third floor, the business floor, became on this floor, and it was because of the Yak. And I remember when I started, I think, I forget who it was. But they're like, yeah, you can be Big Cat's show. They're like, just make sure he's cool with it. So I had like a sit down with Big Cat in this room, in like the old podcasting rooms, and we obviously knew each other. It was a very small office. It was like 30 people, 40 people. And I was the ad guy, so I would walk over to him frequently and run stuff by him or get his opinion on stuff. And he's kind of on the record saying he didn't like me for the first like 6 months because I wanted to do like show prep and stuff like that because I had no experience. I didn't know that you just like fucking wing it. Like I walk in now and I give the guys the sheets like 30 seconds before we're on the air. Yeah. Like there's nothing. I feel like a lot of times like not everyone even reads it, which is fine. I know you do because
no, I think now it's become like very charmful, the sheets, right? Like with the other and everything. Yeah. It's become a pivotal wrinkle in the show. Yeah. But
Big Cat's been very adamant. I don't want to see the sheet until I'm literally in the room or walking to the room. So yeah, that's kind of how things started, and that's how we get here. Now I'm hosting a show on YouTube with you, and we're doing a mock draft, which the graphics team helped mock up, and Avery and Zara kind of running through that. So this has been kind of a crazy journey. But I had a couple questions. I know Stool Streams is waiting, and Hank is waiting. So Hank, apologize. I had a couple questions I just wanted to fire off here. Let me see. This is going to be kind of a spice, maybe a spice one, maybe not. But who in your opinion is the most underappreciated person at Barstool? I have a very clear answer. I'm putting you on the spot because I did not run these questions by you at all.
Jeff D. Lowe.
Same. I was going to say the same thing. Yep. Jeff D. Lowe gets...
I think he's legitimately... I mean, obviously you have to put Dave and Dan 1 and 2, but I think Jeff D. Lowe is like the hardest worker we have.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, Dave and Dan I think are in a different category, but like I feel like they are appreciated, but they do so much stuff. Like, if you put them on the same scale with Jeff D. Lowe, it's not fair, just because of what comes out. But Jeff D. Lowe, incredible.
Yeah, just his sheer like hours of work is incredible.
Also, I didn't even think about this when I did this. Joey Langone also. You just have you seen that guy's screen report?
No. Is it just like 20 hours a day?
Like 16 hours a day.
It's absurd, yeah.
Like, I'm sure some of that is like personal use, and he's running like Barstool, New York, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, that guy has 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Chuck Naso has been running the Instagram for 4 years. He reads probably 2,000 DMs a day.
Oh my god!
Like his mind just has to be a cesspool by now.
Oh my god. What else do we got? Here, this was an observation for me. This would go on the other section. You look like someone who wears their backpack very low. True or false?
You?
Oh,
me?
Yeah.
No, maybe when I was younger to try and be cool, and then I realized it was just more efficient to just wear it how it's meant to be worn.
Okay.
Also, the chat is saying Za and Avery. I would agree, but I think they're appreciated, right?
I think Za and Avery are great pieces.
Thank you.
Absolutely vital pieces, especially to my
let's pump
success.
the brakes a little bit.
What do you mean pump the brakes, Za?
My most underappreciated is probably the tech team.
Oh, true.
Our tech team gets a lot of
True.
flack, but those guys work crazy hours. And,
Yeah.
I mean, there's only like 3 or 4 of them to power this whole
Andrew,
office. It's
Colby, Stefan, Steve.
They also just get texts like, "Oh, you got to fly to Chicago and set up a stream
in like 5 hours."
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to just have a fully functioning, technically sound stream set up soon.
Yes.
There's everybody like, I don't know.
I just put everybody a lot of graphics for everybody.
Yeah.
And then just
he does so many things for so many different people.
I think what happens,
also very underappreciated.
I think what happens is a lot of people don't really know what other people do around here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
And it's so much.
Yes.
Like, people are like, "You work on that? Oh my god!" Like, and I thought you were working on this, and this, and they're like, "I am, and I'm working on this too." So,
I mean,
it's crazy.
Avery, me and you have been on both sides of it. We were fans, and then now we work here. Like, you don't realize how much like hard work everybody's actually doing.
Yeah.
Like everyone's doing a million things and helping everyone out, and there's a lot more behind the scenes than I think people would guess.
And I had this question for you. What would be your death row meal? I think this has been something that's been eliminated, but typically if someone's about to die, they get like kind of whatever flown in for them to eat. What would be your death row meal?
My death row meal would be like a 28-ounce bone-in ribeye, medium rare, cream spinach, baked potato. Wash it down with a seltzer with lime. And then for dessert, I would have a New York cheesecake with a raspberry drizzle.
So you're literally just going to a steakhouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to a steakhouse, having the top of the line thing. Okay, fair.
What about you?
It'd be very different. I would try, death row you're supposed to get from one place, but I would do a bunch of things. So it'd be movie popcorn, Coke, regular, not zero. So living a little bit on the wild side there because I'm about to die.
You're about to die.
But, I mean, if you have your current body in the next life, I'd probably, whatever. I'm going to do regular Coke. Small thing of nachos.
From?
Just like any really like bar place that does like good nachos.
Yeah.
Not like Taco Bell, but like, any small bar place. Those would be the apps. Do filet mignon just because I generally am going to eat the bigger steaks, but like I want to save room for a lot of stuff.
I think filet mignon's very overrated.
It's good. It's good in a smaller dose. Like I'm not trying to get full on the steak.
True. You're about to die, so.
Yeah. So I do a lot of the sides. So probably like the cream spinach, like the like general steakhouse fare, Brussels sprouts, etc. Bacon Brussels sprouts, whatever. Dessert, definitely ice cream, whipped cream. I don't think anything crazy. Probably the movie popcorn is like the one thing that would like absolutely have to be part of the death row meal.
Yeah. Have you ever done, like me and Jeff D'Lo have done, you would just go to the movie theater, get popcorn, and leave?
Yes.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. I'm an AMC subs member, not to brag. But you get a free movie popcorn on your birthday. And so last year, 2 years ago, I went to the AMC near me, and I just got the popcorn, left, buckled the popcorn into the front seat, and then drove home.
Yeah. No, I had a girlfriend. We would just get movie theater popcorn and then just go watch a movie like at our apartment instead of.
It's way better.
Yeah,
What's your favorite type
nice.
of microwave popcorn brand?
Pop Secret, I think.
Ooh, bad take.
Is that bad? What is it? Orville Redenbacher's better.
Movie theater kind.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. I do have a spicy food take I wanted to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Not about spicy food, but It's a spicy take. I think there's two types of people in the world. There are people who think hoisin sauce is the best sauce in the world, and there are people who have never had hoisin sauce. I think it's going to be a very unpopular take because I think most people haven't had hoisin sauce, but it is without question the number one sauce in existence.
I have not had hoisin sauce.
Exactly. So you fall into the second group.
Is it like a glazed soy sauce?
No, it's typically called like plum sauce. Like you put it on like a Peking duck if you've ever had that.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. It is like a thicker. It doesn't have like a soy sauce flavor. It's a little bit different.
Okay.
But it's a thicker sauce, like almost like a.
What's something I could put this on
ketchup.
that I'll make myself? Can I put this on like chicken breast or
Yes.
chicken thighs?
Yes.
I might make this week.
Yes. Very, very good. That's really it. Did you have any other questions or hot topics to maybe bring up?
No, not right now. I think we gotta get off for Hank.
Stool streams.
But are you here tomorrow?
Yep, I'll be here. I was supposed to be here full time last week, and then I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out Avery for covering for me. But I'll be here until my wife gives birth.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Draft, child. What more can a man ask for?
Hopefully good draft picks, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
NFL draft stream with myself, Rowan, Brandon Walker, coming February 29th, right around draft time. But this has been fun. Owen, thank you for riding shotgun with me on this YouTube journey. This has been
this was a blast. And we'll be back tomorrow. I'll save some questions for then, and I think Big Cat will be back as well.
With news, hopefully, on his car purchase, assuming he purchased it, which we'll find out. Cliffhanger for tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, guys. Shout out the chat.